All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking into something kind of fascinating, maybe a little unsettling too. We're talking about dark psychology, how people manipulate each other, sometimes without even realizing it.
Exactly. And don't worry, we're not trying to turn everyone into a skeptic. This is more about giving you the tools to spot these subtle ways people try to get what they want, even if it means stepping on someone else to do it.
Think of it like becoming a bit of a human lie detector.
Uh-huh. I like that.
So we're taking our cues today from this book, Psi, which translates to dark psychology. It breaks down like 61 different manipulation techniques, all fitting into four main categories. And one thing that really jumped out at me, they start by talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that whole pyramid thing. What's the connection there?
Well, think about it. Manipulators, they're experts at tapping into those basic needs we all have. That need to belong, the desire for esteem, reaching our full potential. The book argues that it's precisely because these needs are so fundamental that makes so many people vulnerable to manipulation.
So they're like hijacking our deepest desires to gain leverage.
Spot on. They zero in on vulnerabilities, especially insecurities. There's this striking image the book uses. It's a person holding up like a sheepish mind control sign. It's meant to represent how a manipulator can kind of take over someone's thoughts and actions,
Wow, that's a strong visual. But I mean, surely not everyone's equally vulnerable to this, right?
You're absolutely right. The book dives into some of the personality traits that can make someone, well, more susceptible. People who struggle with an inferiority complex, for instance. They might be more easily swayed by someone who projects confidence, someone who appears authoritative.
Makes sense. So let's get down to brass tacks here. The book talks about verbal abuse as a form of manipulation. How does that play out?
Well, verbal abuse, it's not just about harsh words. It's much more insidious than that. It's about chipping away at someone's self-esteem, making them, well, more pliable, less likely to stand up for themselves. It's all about creating that power imbalance.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing when you think about how subtle, how insidious these tactics can be. It's like a reminder to pay attention, not just to what people say, but how they make us feel. And the book has this piece of advice that says to become a hedgehog, which sounds kind of funny out of context. What's the thinking behind that?
It is a memorable way to put it. But it makes sense. You got to develop those prickles, metaphorically speaking, of course. Practically, it means becoming more assertive, setting clear boundaries. The more you stand your ground, the less space you give a manipulator to, work their magic.
So strong boundaries, those are our shield against these emotional predators.
I like that, yeah.
Okay, let's get tactical here. The book outlines this thing called the foot in the door technique. What's that all about?
Well, it's pretty simple, deceptively so, actually. And it's super effective. You start with a small ask. Something almost insignificant, really, like borrowing $1, maybe asking for a small favor. And once someone agrees to that, well, they're much more likely to say yes to a bigger related request down the line.
It's like a slippery slope of favors. The book is this example of a neighbor asking to borrow a cup of sugar, and then later they ask to borrow your lawnmower, then maybe watch their kids for an afternoon. It's like that first yes kind of sets a precedent.
You got it. Humans, we have this built-in need to be consistent, right? We don't like looking flaky, going back on our word. So we often end up doing things we wouldn't have initially agreed to if they just asked outright,
Makes you wonder how often we get pulled into stuff without realizing it. What about the bandwagon effect? How does that tie into manipulation?
The bandwagon effect. It's everywhere. It preys on that deep-seated need we have, the need to belong, to fit in with the crowd. The tactic relies on social proof. The idea that if everyone else is doing something, it must be the right thing to do.
It's like peer pressure, but on a grander scale.
Yeah.
What's a real-life example of this in action?
Easy. Think about product marketing. Ads that boast about millions of satisfied customers or show tons of people rushing to buy something. It's that don't miss out, join the winning team kind of vibe.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be super effective, especially for people who are, maybe a little unsure of themselves, easily swayed by what others are doing. The book also dives into color psychology. How is that used to manipulate people?
Color psychology is all about how manipulators use visual cues to influence how we see and react to things. Think about like fast food restaurants. They love using red and yellow, colors associated with hunger and excitement. It's a subconscious nudge to get those taste buds tingling.
It's kind of wild how even simple things like color can be used strategically. This deep dive is really making me second guess everything I see now.
It's all about awareness. You start seeing these patterns everywhere once you know what to look for.
That reminds me of another point from the book, seating arrangements.
Mm.
How can something as basic as where you sit be used for manipulation?
Picture a meeting room, right? The person at the head of the table, even unintentionally, they project a certain authority. They often control who speaks, how the conversation flows. It even impacts how others perceive them.
So it's not just what you say, it's where you are in relation to everyone else.
Exactly. Nonverbal communication, things like spatial positioning, they play a huge role in how we interact and how we see each other. And, well, manipulators, they know how to use that to their advantage.
It's crazy how much we communicate without ever saying a word. All right, before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, there's one more thing I got to ask about. The halo effect. What is that, and how does it tie into manipulation?
The halo effect, it describes this tendency we have to make assumptions about someone's character based on just one positive trait. For example, if someone's attractive, we might automatically assume they're also intelligent, trustworthy, maybe even kind.
So we're like blinded by that first good impression.
In a way, yeah. And guess what? Manipulators use that. They'll cultivate this image, maybe of charm, success, or expertise, to create this halo that kind of masks their real intentions.
Good reminder to look beyond the surface, not get swept away by appearances.
Absolutely. It all comes back to critical thinking, being aware of our own biases.
This has been a fascinating deep dive so far. We've only just scratched the surface of dark psychology, but it's definitely given us a lot to think about.
Oh, for sure. And we're not done yet. We'll be back after a short break to explore even more tactics and, importantly, how to protect yourself from them.
Don't go anywhere, folks, because it's about to get even more interesting. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're digging deeper into dark psychology today, still following along with the book Saxo's Rin. Before the break, we were talking about the importance of those strong boundaries. The book has this interesting idea, the yes ladder, they call it, to help with that. How's that work?
Well, it's a strategy, really, for those situations where you feel someone's pushing you, trying to get you to do something you're not quite comfortable with. Instead of just saying yes or no right away, you buy yourself some time. You ask clarifying questions.
Oh, I see. So, like going back to that example from the book, the neighbor who wants to borrow sugar, instead of just saying yes, which as we know could lead to an unexpected babysitting request, I could say something like, oh, what are you making?
Exactly. That does a couple things. It shows you're engaged, but you're also shifting the dynamic a bit. You're not just reacting, you're gathering information. And then, depending on what they say, you can kind of climb up this yes ladder, right? Ask a few more questions. Maybe you find out they're baking for some charity event. Now you have more context.
So, if I've got the time, and I like the cause,
Yeah.
I might genuinely offer to help.
Yeah.
But if I'm slammed, I can politely decline, and I don't feel that same pressure. So the yes ladder, it's like a way to make a conscious choice instead of just like an automatic reaction.
That's it. It's about taking back control of the interaction. Another big thing for protecting yourself, and the book emphasizes this too, is self-reflection. Looking back on your own experiences, trying to spot those times when maybe you were manipulated.
So like a manipulation audit, huh?
Exactly. When you analyze past interactions, you start to see those patterns in your own behavior. Which tactics get you every time? Maybe you realize you always give in to guilt trips, or someone who acts like an authority figure just pushes your buttons.
Self-awareness is huge. Once you know your weak spots, you can kind of see those tactics coming. The book even suggests, like, practicing your responses beforehand.
Oh, definitely. The more you practice setting those boundaries, saying what you need, the easier it gets when it's happening for real. It's like a muscle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Speaking of real-life scenarios, the book goes into how all this plays out in different settings. They have a whole section on how seating arrangements in like a business meeting, for example, can influence the whole power dynamic.
Right. We talked before about how that person at the head of the table, they often have this air of authority, even if they don't mean to. The book goes deeper, though, even suggests that just the act of choosing where everyone sits, it can be like a subtle power play. Someone who wants to control the conversation, they might position themselves very specifically to influence how others interact, you know.
It's about paying attention to all those unspoken dynamics. Even something as simple as where you sit at the table can make a difference. What other situations does the book go into?
Well, they talk about color psychology in advertising. Like we mentioned before, fast food chains, all that red and yellow to make you hungry. But there's a whole science to how color affects our mood, how we perceive things. Advertisers use that, you know, to kind of nudge us towards buying their products.
So that calming blue in, like a skincare ad,
Yeah.
that's chosen on purpose to make you associate that product with a sense of peace, relaxation.
You got it. Or the bright green they use for those eco-friendly cleaning products. It's tapping into how we feel about nature, sustainability. Once you understand these tactics, you can become a more savvy consumer, less likely to get pulled in by those subconscious cues.
It's amazing how much it goes into those choices that we don't even think about. It's like we're surrounded by these persuasive messages all the time.
That's true. But remember, this deep dive, it's not about making us paranoid or making you feel like you can't trust anyone. It's about being empowered.
Exactly. It's about giving ourselves the knowledge to navigate all this stuff with more awareness so we can make choices that are right for us.
That's what it's all about. And we've got even more to talk about. Coming up after the break, we'll cover some more techniques and the strategies you can use to spot dark psychology in action and defend yourself against it.
Stay with us, folks. The deep dive continues in just a moment.
And we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into dark psychology. We've been using this book to guide us. It's definitely given us a lot to think about.
Yeah, it has. From all those sneaky techniques, the foot in the door thing, to how people use color and body language.
And, of course, how important it is to, build those strong boundaries and, that manipulation audit.
Right, exactly. The more you know yourself, those weak spots, the less likely you are to get caught off guard,
Absolutely. So before we finish up, there are a few more things from the book I wanted to touch on. The broken record technique is one. What is that exactly?
Think of it like this. Someone keeps asking for something over and over. Even after you've said no, they just wear you down. Kind of like a little kid who wants candy. They just keep asking until you give in, just to get them to stop.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to just say yes than to keep saying no, right? It's a tactic you see in negotiations sometimes, but it can happen in relationships too.
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Without, going crazy?
The key is to stay calm. Be assertive. You state your boundaries and you stick to them, no matter what. They might keep asking, but you don't have to argue or explain. Just keep repeating yourself.
Like having that internal compass. You know where you stand, and you don't let anything knock you off course.
Exactly. And if they just won't let up, it's okay to walk away. Sometimes that's the best way to protect yourself.
Makes sense. You gotta know when to hold your ground and when to just walk away from a bad situation. The book also gets into subliminal messaging. It sounds kind of, like something out of a movie.
It does have that kind of mysterious feel, doesn't it? But the idea is that there are these hidden messages. Could be images, words, sounds, whatever. And they're embedded in things below your conscious awareness. The idea is they can influence you without you even knowing.
So like those flashing images in movies, they say make you crave popcorn. Is that a real thing?
Whether it actually works, that's debatable. But there is some evidence that it can have a subtle effect. Like advertisers might use certain images or sounds to make you associate their product with something good.
It's kind of creepy,
yeah,
but also really fascinating to think we could be influenced like that.
It definitely shows you how important it is to be aware of what you're consuming. We're bombarded with messages all the time. Got to figure out what's real and what's just trying to manipulate you.
This whole deep dive into dark psychology has really been eye-opening. We've uncovered so many tactics.
Yeah, but remember, the goal here wasn't to make you scared or distrustful of everyone.
Exactly. It's about having the knowledge,
Yeah.
So you can spot those red flags and protect yourself. So you can navigate the world with a bit more confidence.
It's like having X-ray vision for people's behavior. You can cut through the BS and make choices that are good for you.
That's a great way to put it. So to everyone listening, stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered. Knowledge is power, and knowing how to spot these tactics, well, that's the best way to protect yourself. We'll see you next time for another deep dive. Until then, take care.